Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and at the end of this video, I'm going to direct you to a video which I'm not going to play because of the foul language, but I'm going to direct you to a video that someone sent me last night, and I think that it was totally missed. This is something that was totally missed, and it pretty much tells you what is being said behind closed doors, and this is a pretty unbelievable thing, but I have no doubt that it happened. Okay, first let's go. Let's show you the market. Let me hit the refresh on this. I can't remember if I told you this is the Digital Asset Investor. Okay, we're at 277 billion, folks. We got new money flowing into this thing now. We've also got an XRP that last night crossed 28 cents, and it's holding 28 cents very strong. Things are looking very good, folks, very good. Now, let's go into some of the, and before we're about to head into some of the drama that's going on, and as I've warned you many times, the second that XRP starts performing, especially if it starts outperforming Bitcoin, the Bitcoin maxis come out of the woodwork attacking XRP. It's with FUD. It's just the way this works. But first, I wanted to show you what the Joker is saying here. Crypto in 2020, Litecoin is up 92%, BNB 57%, XRP 55%, Bitcoin 45%, gold is up only 2%. Sorry, Peter Schiff. XRP has outperformed Bitcoin in 2020, and gold is the worst performing asset so far. Facts leave you speechless, then turns into a storyteller. Exactly, he couldn't have said it better. Now, let's go. Here we go into the drama. XRP Honey Bear, and you guys, I don't think I got a chance to show this yesterday. Brad Garlinghouse came out and responded to Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital. Remember, Mike Novogratz was in some kind of conference, and he didn't think he was being recorded, and he started basically saying XRP is going to go down immensely this year like it did last year. And he was basically bashing XRP when he was asked, okay? So Garlinghouse comes out and he says, is this thing on? Can I get a fact check on the IL coin desk? XRP, which I think this is the take. I think he got this from Brad Combs' show, actually. I think Brad Combs says something like this. XRP has outperformed Bitcoin and the broader crypto market in 2020. XRP is up 44%, 19.1 to 27.5 versus Bitcoin's 33%, 7,100 to 9,500 so far. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I may have covered this in my second video yesterday, but it doesn't matter. It all ties into what I'm going to talk about. And then he says, also, this is the same guy that said Bitcoin will go to 20K in 2019. He did predict Tom Hanks would win an Oscar for Mr. Rogers. Maybe this is the prediction he'll get right. Personally voting for Brad Pitt, though. Okay, so here comes the drama. So then Mike Novogratz today comes out and responds. Galaxy is a big investor in Ripple. And by the way, before I go into this, as usual, what Mike Novogratz says makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense, by the way, here is that he has a larger stake in Bitcoin and or sees Bitcoin as being the first thing he's going to pocket his money on primarily and then roll it into XRP. That's the only thing that I can figure here, but it doesn't make sense at all. And he ought to be ashamed of himself, to be honest. Galaxy is a big investor in Ripple Labs. I would like to see them do well. Brad Garlinghouse has done a great job as CEO. I commented the XRP tokens underperformed Bitcoin last year because Ripple owns a lot of them. I have been almost solely long Bitcoin for the past 15 months. This year, the broader alt market, including XRP, has outperformed Bitcoin. This has surprised me. That said, I see more and more large accounts getting educated and setting up being accumulators of Bitcoin and believe on risk-adjusted basis it's the best place to bet on crypto. Well, part of the reason he sees large accumulators is because he's out there not telling the truth about XRP and he's pumping Bitcoin. 3, Bitcoin has found a place as a weapon in macro portfolios as digital gold. It's only digital gold because it can't do anything else, and he knows this. He knows this. That's the frustrating part about this. It was marketed as that because he and all of his buddies figured out a way to market it because it was the one with name recognition, first mover. As a hard asset, all other cryptos are venture bets and will only have lasting value if they become a product that is useful. Ethereum might be the trust level people build on. If it does, it's a great bet. XRP and many other cryptos like ETH are still in the proving phase. No, I would say they're not in the proving phase. MoneyGram is using XRP right now in commercial use, which is more than you can say for Bitcoin. They aren't going to succeed as solely a store of value. Actually, they could, especially since XRP can store value just like Bitcoin and has scarcity just like Bitcoin, and it's faster, cheaper, and more scalable than Bitcoin, and he knows this too. XRP does have its own fervent community. In other words, he's trying to downplay, like, oh, well, they've got this big community, and that's really all they have going for it. Well, guess what? Why do you think they have the biggest community, Mike Novogratz? The reason we have the biggest community is because these are smart people who understand that XRP is the one and is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a pile of technological crap, and you know it. That's why you can only sell it as a store of value. And you sold it to your customers, and you're stuck now. That's what I believe. Okay, the company needs to distribute in a rational way, in the same time building a real and scalable use. So I replied to him this: you can write an entire book about your comments and it still won't make 1 ounce of sense that a Ripple shareholder badmouths Ripple's #1 asset every chance he gets. Novogratz, maybe it's time you go to the school of Yoshitaka Kitao, who's the SBI Holdings CEO, who is also an investor in and an owner in Ripple, and does nothing but touts XRP and talks about how it's going to be a big part of global payment flows. All right, so now let's go back. Now that we've said all this, here's what his spokesman came out and said. He did not say that XRP was going to go down immensely like it did last. Let me get the quote. It did underperform immensely last year, he told the audience. I think it will underperform immensely again this year, and it's just because of the supply. Though his spokesperson, Novogratz, disputed having said immensely, but it's clearly audible in the tape. Well, I didn't play the tape for you yesterday. Here you go.
So you mentioned a couple of coins, what's your thoughts on Ripple?
So be careful like in the back of the CEO when he calls and screams.
That answers the question right there.
Listen, Ripple, the company, owns 60 billion of the coins, of the XRP coins. That's a lot of them. You know, when I'm buying a stock, I know he's selling, $10 billion worth of it at some price. It makes me less excited to buy the stock. And so I think it did underperform, immensely last year. I think it will underperform immensely again this year. And it's just because of the supply. It didn't get distributed like Bitcoin did with mining. And so you've got this one giant pool that are constant sellers.
Okay, so he actually did say immensely, even though his spokesman came out and said he did not, or denied it. Well, let's make sure we give Mike Novogratz full credit. This is Mike Novogratz Galaxy Crypto Index Fund that he sells to customers. His February 2020 initial fund weightings are Bitcoin 30%, Ethereum 29%, XRP 18%, Bitcoin Cash 10%, Litecoin 6%, EOS 6%. So Mike Novogratz has just told you all that he is telling his customers or potential customers to invest 18% of their crypto portfolio into XRP, which he thinks is going to go down immensely this year, just like it did last year. Not very responsible if you're coming from my standpoint here. Well, I asked him the question, why are you telling your customers to allocate 18% of their crypto portfolio to XRP, an asset that you think is going down? And that's a question a lot of people should ask this guy. And let's see, of course, he hasn't answered, because that's a tough one to answer right there. All right, moving along from XRP Bart. XRP Bart sent me this. The Backed app aggregates cash, crypto, rewards, and game points, and will enable consumers to make purchases and transfer money to another person using a variety of digital assets. So this Backed app is not just going to be for Bitcoin. And that is something that I didn't even know until now, I don't think. Okay, Mike Preston at Mike Preston CW12 sent me this. It's a tweet from Bob Ross. It's out. One single XRP wallet address to store all your solo XRP and tokenized assets, stocks, and ETFs. What's the next update for the app? DEX is coming soon, so you can trade assets securely when you keep your own keys. And this is their announcement of their new solo wallet. What's cool about this is you're going to be able to own solo XRP or buy into tokenized stocks. And what that means is you'll be able to buy in a small percentage share of a share of stock, not like the way you've had to do it traditionally, where you either buy a share or you can't have the stock. If it's an expensive stock, like I don't know an example, but let's say Facebook. Let's say Facebook was valued at $1,000 and you only had $100. This will allow you to buy $100 worth of that Facebook stock. How cool is that? And go in and out of solo and XRP. All right. Next, Rob Licker at Rob Licker sent me this. The Bitcoin maxis are falling like flies, folks. Yesterday, and Bitcoin Benz goes back and forth. Sometimes he'll say pro XRP things, and sometimes he'll kind of tweak us a little bit and say bad things about it. But yesterday he came out and he was talking about how XRP is going to 50 cents. Today we've got one of the most people in the media, one of the most anti-Ripple and XRP people that I have ever witnessed. This Mike Dudas guy, I think he's from the block. Got to hand it to Ripple, signing big deals, seeing volume from Bitso, MoneyGram, and more. In other words, he's starting to see what you and I have been calling for a long time. He's starting to see volumes increase the price of XRP. And now he's trying to rewrite the history books. That's what's going on here, folks. And you're going to see a lot more of them. We've seen a lot of them. They're starting to try to backtrack slowly on what they've been saying. Intermex IMIXI will utilize Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution that leverages XRP to settle cross-border payments. And then I tweeted this out and said this: the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. So in the end, their XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created. That's a Winston Churchill quote, by the way. All right, and then this was from Stewart XRP. This is great right here, folks. We already knew that the SEC is running a node on the Ripple network. It's the third. I don't know what this is from. It doesn't say here, but he's got it right here. It says it is the third largest coin by coin market capitalization and has China payments provider and Saudi Arabian monetary authority as nodes on its network. I didn't realize that. Maybe you did. But you see what's happening, folks? It is happening right before our eyes. Jaquito McPhee at Jaquito McPhee sent me this from Cryptopolis. Yesterday, Ripple did this on-demand liquidity. It was with the Sheesh Burla, and I think her last name's Baker. I don't remember her first name. MoneyGram is now live in 5 corridors. Watch this. If I can get it to play. Let me hit the refresh button on that, and we'll see if we can get this going.
Yeah, and what was interesting, Bitso, as you guys know, one of our exchange partners in Mexico, they moved $18 million of remittance through XRP in the final weeks of December, and that's been growing at 15 to 20% per week. For MoneyGram, they're now live in 5 corridors using on-demand liquidity. And now 10% of their US to Mexico, which is their largest corridor, is moving over XRP and ODL.
Well, there you go. 5 corridors. I think he said, what was it, 12 to 14% a week is what it's going up. Okay, let's go here. XRP Big Time, AdX Big Time sent me this. Federal Reserve Governor Lael Brainerd says the U.S. Central Bank is studying the feasibility of a digital currency. You better believe they are. And then XRP Crypto will summarize this in a few good ones for me today. The Federal Reserve is looking at a range of issues around protections and regulations for digital currencies and payments. Governor Brainerd said, by transforming payments, digitalization has potential to deliver greater value and convenience at lower cost. And then there's this, XRP Crypto Wolf again. Federal Reserve Governor Brainerd said the U.S. Central Bank is studying the potential of a digital currency. We're doing research experiments on distributed ledger tech and their potential use case for digital currencies, including potential for a CBDC. All right. And next, Michael at VAL5 Link sent me this. Major central banks to discuss digital currencies amid IMF conference. And XRP Crypto Wolf is here to save the day again. Sends me this. The central banks of Europe, UK, Canada, Japan, Sweden, Switzerland, and Bank of International Settlements will meet at the IMF conference in D.C. in April to discuss digital currencies, CBDCs, and share considerations on cross-currency settlements. How about that? Okay, then yesterday, Ripple tweeted this out. This is a cross-border transactions are the key to connecting a fragmented region. This is by Naveen Gupta. And so XRP Crypto will put down this or summarize it a little bit here. Naveen Gupta discussed the fragmented payments landscape and how blockchain like ODL enable fintech innovation and instant payments. Over 300 customers use our solution to transfer money around the world, half of which are from the APAC region. I thought this might be a good time to play an oldie but goodie, awesome video from Naveen Gupta. For those of you that have never heard this, listen up and listen up really well. This is from Stephen Bull from the DIA. Listen to this.
How do you think, what is the next move, on Ripple's roadmap, in your opinion? To put you on the spot here.
No, it's very simple. So I think one thing, if there is one message that you can get in this room is Ripple is not an ordinary company. We are not here to have a small market share or do X, do Y, and make small amount of money or something to happen. We are here to make a dent in the universe. Either we will change the remittance universe, the way you understand, the way value gets transferred across the world, between people, between institutions, or we will just fade away. So it's almost 0 or 1, and some of it comes from our Silicon Valley arrogance. Some of it comes from, that's the reason 6 years ago we were born with the mission of moving money like information moves today, right? And we are making it possible working with the existing ecosystem. So I think this is a key differentiator about Ripple, and that's the reason we are a monoline company. Every day we get tens of ideas to say, why don't you do security settlement? Why don't you work in trade finance? Why don't you do X, Y, Z? And what we tell them is, just cross-border remittances is $155 trillion problem. We'll solve this first. We'll make a difference to everybody who's present in this room. And once we have made the difference, then only we will look at something else. So we are like Google is for search, Ripple is for remittances. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it right, and we will not rest till we earn your respect and your business.
How about that? Okay, now I want to show you what I told you at the beginning of the video. This right here is something that now somebody may have brought it up, but I think it was missed, and someone made me aware of this, and they didn't want credit. They sent this to me last night. This is a video by who we talked about yesterday, Bitcoin Ben, okay? Now, I'm not showing you this for any other reason than what they say in this video. First, you need to understand these two guys right here, they have a company. If you watch the video, I think it's called Perpetual Assets maybe, but it's behind this guy's head right here. It's a company called Perpetual Assets. And these guys are of course, in crypto. They're talking about how regulated they are and all of this, and how they have to go and do workshops with regulators and to keep in compliance and all of this. This guy right here up top, you got to watch. Now listen, I want to give you a major disclaimer. There is some terrible language in this video. Okay, so if you don't like terrible language and it's going to offend you, don't go watch it. I'm not going to play it because of how bad the language is. But if you don't have a problem with bad language, go suffer through it and start at the 101 point. Okay, the 101 point, because this is what this guy right here says. He's talking about how these two guys, they have to go to the compliance training with like U.S. regulators. And he said that they went to a compliance training session. And he said the room was full of regulators and these type of people. And he said not just average people, but the speakers, the people that run the show, the regulators, the people that are running the show, literally said, and they specifically say Ripple in this, folks. He said that these regulators told them in this training session that in 2 or so years that Ripple is going to replace Swift. That's why you need to go watch this video. Started at the 101 point. It is unbelievable to hear. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that within the next 2 years, Ripple is going to replace Swift. Thank you for listening.